Hello, hello, hello. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News. I'm your host, Leticia Remauro, and tonight we will be talking about the Commonwealth of Virginia and what the hell is going on there. Um, Especially in Fairfax. It seems that the murder rate in Fairfax is way, way up. But in general, Virginia has recently, when I say recently, I mean since 2020, seen, since when the borders opened, or 2021, sorry, since when the borders were opened and people were allowed to just come across. It seems that Virginia is in the news often for people being unalived in a very tragic, tragic way. Um, and the reason that we're talking about that is because today a 19-year-old illegal immigrant was arrested and confessed to stabbing his 42-year-old co-worker and dousing her with gasoline and unsuccessfully trying to set her on fire. This comes after just a rash of illegal immigrants unaliving women and men throughout Virginia. Let's say hello to everybody. Hi, Kevin Wall from around the other side of the world, same side of the issues. Hello, OG, Lucille. Hi, Andrew Dorman. And hi, Francine. Good to have you. I'm going to share my screen because I know I hate sharing my screen because you can't always see, but it helps me to see, and then we can talk about stuff. Here are just the people, not everybody, just a few of the people who have been arrested for doing bad things in Fairfax County. Here is the young man, the 19-year-old, that happened on Monday, I believe it was. And then there was another, I'm not going to call him a gentleman. This man stabbed Stephanie Minter, and he was let out of jail many, many times. Had been around since with deportation orders since 2018. Oh, and by the way, Fairfax is a sanctuary city. Here's another guy, illegal immigrant in 2018, accused of unaliving somebody. Then, of course, the Virginia mom, who we remember, Abdul Jala. This is Stephanie Minter's killer. He was up a little bit earlier. Here's the other one. I don't want to open this all up. Well, I guess I'm going to. That's Minter too. Oh, sorry. So hold on. I'm sorry. My dog is he's being silly now. All of a sudden decided to have a bad dream and is barking. Bug, wake up. Okay. So quite a few people in Fairfax arrested for the same thing. Hi, Angela Ricca. Hi, Cameron. And now we're learning that the reason that so many of these illegal migrants are out and about is because we have a DA in Fairfax that on his website, and I just realized, hold on a second, I'm sorry. I thought I was all together today. I was ready early and I was ready to go, and somehow or another I've forgotten to do a whole bunch of things. But so we have a DA in Fairfax, Toscano, who on his website had stated that he would be careful of prosecuting illegal migrants when there was a deportation order. So in other words, he didn't want to charge these illegal migrants with felonies because they would be deported from the United States under ICE. So the accusations are that the Department of Justice is probing it. The U.S. Department of Justice opened a civil rights investigation into Fairfax County Prosecutor's Office to evaluate whether charging and sentencing policies discriminate against U.S. citizens by granting favorable deals to non-citizens. There were some congressional hearings, and we're going to see some of that soon. The DA says that Descano's office maintains a directive stating prosecutors should consider collateral immigration consequences where possible to avoid the destruction of families and local communities. The prosecutors has defended his administration's record, asserting that the office prosecutes all crimes fairly, abides by the law, and acts for the safety and values of Fairfax County. Well, that's not what the sheriff says. And I'm going to play for you just the accusations that, and this is about Minter's guy, the guy that killed Minter, because he was let out many, many times, had, I think it was 38 charges, or arrested 38 times, and was let out over and over again. Listen.
DOJ is specifically looking into Descano's decisions when it comes to plea deals, sentencing policies, and essentially if he's going too soft on crime, if you will, when it comes to prosecuting undocumented defendants. Now take a look. The DOJ tells us, quote, this investigation will uncover whether this prosecutor is putting the community at risk in offering sweetheart deals to illegal immigrants charged with serious crimes.
These policies are only part of the puzzle to find out what's happened over the last 6 years with Steve Descano and so many victims who've been left out because of what he does and really doesn't do as the chief prosecutor for Fairfax County.
That's Sean Kennedy, a public safety watchdog, and he recalled the murder of Stephanie Minter. Her accused killer, Abdul Jallo, was in the country illegally and had been arrested more than 30 times. Descano dropped most of those charges, including assault and malicious wounding, despite written warnings from police that Jallo was a threat.
So Descano is a true bleeding heart liberal. His current website, and this has been changed and I guess softened would be a word I would use. His current website says the Office of the Commonwealth's Attorney oversees the prosecution of crimes committed under the Code of Virginia occurring within Fairfax County. The OCA is committed to promoting the long-term safety of the community while, quote, reforming Fairfax County's justice system to mitigate mass incarceration and address racial and socioeconomic disparities. So that is his mission on his website. These are the people that came in under Soros when Soros funded all of the bail reform and funded the campaigns of district attorneys who are going to be softer on crime. That was in the 17s, 16s and 17s and 18s. And at the time, nobody could understand why Soros would want more crime on the streets. But I mean, it was clear it was to drive down the real estate market in big cities so that, they could gobble up property. And indeed, that's what was happening, is that, more crime, cheaper property. Hey, Margie, how are you, darling? Hey, Angela Rickett. Did I say hello to Angela and Karen? I may have. I can't remember. All right. So let's listen a little bit to the Descano hearing. I'm going to let you hear from Congressman Biggs. Okay, listen.
I thought it was interesting too when the ranking member said, "Hey, if stand up here if you're if in the gallery if you support immigrants, so that they're able to make 911 calls. I thought that was interesting. Everybody stood up and then a few sat down. But you know who can't stand up today? You know who's not here today? The victims of the crimes of those individuals that were released into the community, knowing that they had a propensity to commit these types of crimes. They're not here to answer for themselves. That's why we have, ostensibly, that's why you have the police agencies. So I thought I would tell you, you know who's not here? Ms. Minter's a wonderful daughter, Stephanie. She's not here because Abdul Jala was released. The victim of Malden Annabel Guzman, who was killed, is not here. The victim of Marvin Fernando Morales Ortiz is not here. He's killed. He's killed, released by these individuals. Wilmer Osmani Ramos Giron, the victim of his strangulation, is not here. The victim of Jorge Armando Melendez Gonzalez, charged 19 times violent and firearm-related offenses, not here. The victims cannot be here. The victim of Hiram Bacadeno Rodriguez. The judge found what Mr. Descano's office's plea agreement was so offensive, they rejected them. Then a second judge rejected the plea offer. Victims there, they're not here today. Dennis Humberto Navarrete Romero, again. And we could go on, and we could name these victims who are not here.
Isn't that interesting? That's just a handful of the illegal migrants who were arrested for taking the lives of others, of American citizens in Virginia. And the Democrats, Raskin, during that hearing, this hearing was in May, so I would suggest everybody go back and look at it, the Descano hearing. Worth your time. But Raskin was trying to blame ICE for not doing their job. In May of 2026, Congressman Raskin had the nerve to say that ICE did not do its job properly, and neither did Donald Trump in his first administration. And that's why Ms. Minter was dead. You can't make this stuff up. They make it up as they go along. It's insanity that they have the balls to say such things. All right, here's Congressman Klein from Virginia, taking the extra 2 minutes from Congressman Biggs.
I want to get back to this idea that Fairfax is somehow a standout for keeping crime low. In fact, they're ranked number 3 nationally by release volume out of sanctuary strongholds across the country that routinely disregard detention requests from ICE. So behind Santa Clara County's main pretrial holding facility in California and Chicago's Cook County Jail in Illinois, the number of releases is 3rd nationally. It's actually an embarrassment. From October 2022 to February 2025, the Fairfax County Adult Detention Center freed more than 1,000 deportable illegal immigrants from lockup in direct defiance of over 1,150 detainers lodged by ICE. The people who the ranking member want to feel safe in Fairfax without worrying about whether they're actually safe are scared to walk home, are scared to take the bus to work, or if they're staying in a part of Fairfax that is not the best part of Fairfax, that they're going to encounter a criminal that is on release from the Fairfax County Jail.
Now, remember, Virginia was the state, we were talking about it last night. They lost the man who killed his landlord. And I think he's in Turkestan, I think he flew to. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was put in a mental facility in Virginia with an order from the judge that he could not be signed out, could not be released without the judge's approval. And a couple of days ago, somebody bought him a ticket. He had applied for a passport. Somebody bought him a ticket. He got a passport and got on a plane and flew, not to Turkestan, to Uzbekistan. And he's gone. So I guess self-deported. But he was doing jail time for, well, not jail time. He was in a mental health facility. I guess they worked wonders because he got himself together and got on a plane and left. That's Virginia. And Descano, as the district attorney for Fairfax, is, made it very, very clear that he abides by sanctuary policy. He's not going to abide by federal policy, which to me is remarkable, because do you remember back when Biden was in office and Texas put a fence up on the border, and the Biden administration told them that they had to take the fence down, and Texas said, hell no, we're not going to take the fence down. We're not letting migrants come over the border into our state. And there were lawsuits galore, and I believe that Biden sent bulldozers in to bulldoze the fence. Well, and all the news reported it as, defiant Texas governor refuses, to follow federal orders and federal law. Well, all these sanctuary cities basically giving a big FU to the federal law by saying we're not going to cooperate with ICE. We're not going to hand over people that we've detained on criminal on violent criminal charges. And then Raskin has the nerve to say that it's Trump's fault that Jala was released. No, can't have it both ways. But the Democrats seem to think that they can have it both ways. But this is Virginia, folks. Virginia, which is just outside of D.C. I mean, D.C.'s kind of nestled inside of Virginia. All of these illegal migrants committing murder makes you wonder. Okay, this is a long clip, but this is Jim Jordan, and he's actually questioning the sheriff and Descano. This is an interesting back and forth. Listen carefully.
Let Marvin Morales Ortiz out of jail?
Because I received a court order, a judicial order from a judge ordering his release.
Because the guy beside you wouldn't prosecute him, right?
You'd have to talk to him.
So this guy, the guy beside you wouldn't prosecute the guy who's an illegal migrant, who'd been charged with 6 different crimes, who was arrested for murder in 2020, who in 2023 assaulted a police officer, and who in September of 2025 was charged with aggravated malicious wounding and brandishing a gun. And that guy's released, you can't hold him because he's not going to be prosecuted. Is that right?
I'm not sure about,
Well, that's what you told us. You sent us a letter on March 11, 2016, addressed to myself and Chairman McClintock, and you said on December 16, 2025, the Commonwealth's attorney moved to not prosecute the charges of aggravated malicious wounding and brandishing a firearm by Mr. Morales Ortiz. So you had to let him out, didn't you?
Through a court order by a judge, yes, I did.
You had to let him out.
I was ordered to release him by a judge.
I see you got some of your deputies behind. How's morale in your department, Sheriff? Is it good?
I didn't know I was here to talk about morale, sir, but based on
You're
what
here to answer the questions we ask you. That's what you're here for. Yeah.
Of course I am.
Okay.
But I'm also here to talk about what I was invited here to talk about.
Well, I'll refer you to a statement you made in August. Fairfax County Sheriff Stacy Kincaid, Democrat, also told 7 News reporter Nick Minnick, it's shameful the way things have not been prosecuted. You stand by that statement?
If that's what was written, I do.
No, I'm not asking if that's what's written. I'm saying, did you say that, and do you stand by that? And is that having an impact on morale? Because most of the police departments I know and sheriffs and deputies that I know, when they get the bad guys off the street, they like to see them prosecuted so they don't come back on the street, harm the community you're supposed to protect, and make their job tougher because they got to go get them again when they commit some other crime. That's why I asked the morale question in light of your statement just a few months ago where you said it's shameful that the guy beside you is not prosecuting people.
I did.
You said that?
I did.
Okay, good. Mr. Descano, why'd you change your website?
So first of all, let me address what you had said
No. You
earlier
answered the questions we asked. You answered the questions we asked. I asked a simple question. Why did you change your website last month?
Well, sir, your statements about don't want to prosecute guys is absolutely false. And my policies so far in this hearing...
Are you saying what the sheriff wrote me is wrong?
No, what I'm saying is that the way that my policies have been
December 16th,
presented in this
you
are
chose
outrageous.
She said the Commonwealth's attorney, that's you, chose not to prosecute Mr. Morales-Ortiz on December 16th, and they had to release him. They had to do their job because you wouldn't prosecute. What happened on December 17th, Mr. Descano?
Well, sir, let's talk about December 16th.
No, that's the question. What happened on December 17th? This same guy murdered somebody. This guy murdered somebody, and I'm asking you, why did you change your website?
Well, do you not want me to talk to you about the actual case?
I want you to answer the first question I said.
Which was about the case,
Why did you change
sir?
your website?
Well, sir, because the website is not my policy. My policy... You are referring to a campaign.
I think the voters might be interested in that. This is your campaign website where you said our office will take immigration consequences into account when making charging and plea decisions. Immigration consequences were certainly part of the game here, part of the issue here with Mr. Morales-Ortiz.
No, they weren't.
You decided
they absolutely were not. You are assuming something that is in fact untrue, because you are misrepresenting my policies. My policies do not say that we do not prosecute people.
Well, if you're proud of your policies, why'd you change your website?
Because that's not my policy. As I told you, sir, that is a campaign statement that I made before I was Commonwealth.
It had been up for 6 years. A week after we send you a letter saying we want you to come testify, shazam, you change it.
Because I could not.
Is that coincidental?
Because I could not believe that people were so obtuse that they could not realize what the difference between a campaign statement and an actual office policy is.
So when you make campaign statements, those aren't true? You're not being honest with your voters?
That's not what I'm saying at all, sir.
Sure sounded like it. Sure sounded like it.
It's absolutely not. What I'm saying is that when you
still haven't told me why you took it. You still haven't told me why you took it down.
Because I was hoping to come here to talk about my office policies, not be distracted by a campaign statement that was made a year before I was actually Commonwealth's attorney
General.
and had any cases that were mine.
This is almost laughable. This is your policy. You said it right here. You told the voters, if you elect me, I will take into account immigration consequences when making charging and plea decisions.
This is my policy, not what you have in your hand.
Oh, okay. So what you said to the voters is not real. Doesn't count.
No, sir. What I'm saying is that as an office holder, my office is run by my policy.
Your sheriff said you wouldn't prosecute. This guy gets released, kills someone the next day. We start asking about it. You change your website and take down the statements that say you're going to take into account immigration consequences when you decide what you are going to charge.
And it has been public the entire time I've been in office, sir.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I get a headache watching that because Descano bounced all over the place on that. He was elected in 2019 with that Soros, I think I said that already, with that Soros class. And that's how he was elected. He said that he was going to consider immigration policies. And he suddenly changes his website when it's recognized that prosecuting people differently is unconstitutional, right? Because isn't that exactly what we've been fighting against in America for forever, right? Hasn't the Justice Department or all of the criminal justice system been accused of prosecuting more black and brown men than any other, playing favorites with white men? Isn't that what the Justice Department has been accused of? Isn't that what why the no bail, getting rid of cash bail? Wasn't that the basis for getting rid of cash bail? Because apparently, according to the liberals, black and brown people have less money than white people. And so they can't get themselves out of jail where white people can. So we got to get rid of bail. Even though bail is part of the Constitution, is in our Bill of Rights. Okay. So now you want to bend the rule the other way? Now you want to say, well, if you're a migrant that is not a citizen and you're arrested for a heinous crime, we won't prosecute you for that crime if there are consequences such as deportation or deportation consequences. That is totally unconstitutional and exactly what civil liberties and every human rights organization has been fighting against. But somehow for the woke Democrats, it's okay. Blows my mind. All right, so it brings us to Monday, where let me get his name straight, because there's always like 4 names. Alex Antonio Sedolas Campos, 19 years old, arrested for brutally stabbing a young 42-year-old woman. Today, there was a press conference, and the Fairfax County PD, there were 2 different chiefs there today. They talked about it. And they were asked at one point, I mean, obviously just so that you know, because I don't know did I put the whole thing in? All right, let's listen to it together. They knew each other. They apparently were having an affair. The 19-year-old with the 42-year-old. But when the police were asked about the kid's criminal record and his immigration status, they were very, very evasive. Watch.
Carmen Pooch. She was stabbed and killed by a 19-year-old by the name of Alexis Campos. And I will share that Alexis Campos is under arrest. He is being interviewed right now by Fairfax County homicide detectives, and he is offering a full confession for what transpired. I will share that there was an intimate relationship that existed between our killer and our victim. Our victim, just a word about her, a mother, a loving mother of a 3-year-old little girl who took care of her little girl. Certainly, no one deserves to be treated the way that our victim was treated, and she was stabbed repeatedly by our 19-year-old killer. So our condolences to the Pooch family and to Carmen's friends and loved ones. The way that she was treated by this killer was reprehensible, to say the least. At federal law enforcement levels to find out the answer to that question. But what we do as local law enforcement is we investigate murders and rapes and robberies and burglaries and car thefts. And the task in front of us was to investigate this murder on behalf of our victim. There are other aspects of government, there are other aspects of federal law enforcement that are tasked with other types of enforcement. But for the sake of what the Fairfax County Police Department does on behalf of our community, is we identify killers and bring them to justice, and that's one thing that we just did in the last 48 hours.
Perfect.
Yes,
I had a quick clarification.
Sure.
Okay. So no prior history with you guys with Campos?
so that's something you all can look up as an adult, but I'd be surprised if you found any.
So, I mean, why couldn't he answer the question? Well, because something's wrong with Virginia. Something is terribly wrong with Virginia. It's gone off the rails. I remember when Virginia was red-leaning, conservative, when crime and stopping crime was important to Virginians. Something's wrong with Virginia. And it seems to land in the lap of the Fairfax district attorney right now, and possibly in the Richmond district attorney. You know, these blue sanctuary states or cities, because I don't know that Virginia is a sanctuary state. I know it's a sanctuary city. Well, it may be now, right? Since they elected a Democrat governor, or maybe on its way. That was the talk, right? With the redistricting and all that they were going to be a sanctuary state. Yeah. What concerns me is that Virginia and Maryland are so close to the nation's capital. And we remember the Maryland dad who was a gang member and who was deported to El Salvador. And what's his name? Tim Kaine, I think, went down to El Salvador to have cocktails with him. He had beaten his wife many times, arrested many times for domestic violence. Yeah, so Maryland and Virginia, surrounding our nation's capital, so many illegal migrants still there, being protected by sanctuary status, which is absolutely illegal and unconstitutional. And the thing that gets me crazy is, when is Congress going to act to create an immigration bill that will protect Americans? Johnson's got to get on it, and so does Thune. Absolutely, they must. But when are they going to do it, right? Because they're in recess for the summer. So I think they're coming back in late September. I don't know. Maybe Marge knows. She used to work for a congressperson when they come back. Hi, Anne Marie. So they don't have much time, but we need a comprehensive immigration package, and not that bullshit that was offered in 2023, which was not a comprehensive immigration package. That was a no restriction immigration package. That was, you can come, your family can come, everybody can come on over, and we're going to pay for everything. That's not immigration. Immigration is somebody over here vouches for you, make sure you have a job, you're not on the public dole, you have a background check, you are vetted thoroughly, and the Department of Homeland Security knows where you are the whole time that you are a guest in the country until you become a citizen. All right, well, you guys have been quiet tonight. That means I've been talking too much. I hope not. But thank you for joining me. No, I didn't solve I didn't find the answer to the question of what's wrong with Virginia, but I do think that we hit the nail on the head about why there are so many illegal migrants gravitating to Virginia to commit crimes. Like my parents had to be sponsored. Yes, Margie says like her parents. Yes, my grandfather was an illegal migrant. He jumped ship. And he was in the Italian merchant marine, in the Italian merchant marines. He jumped ship here in New York, and then he immediately joined the military and fought in the war. And because he did that, he became a citizen. So, yes, I guess I'm a product of illegal immigration from my grandfather, but my father came here. He immigrated here correctly. He was on the SS Tiger, and he was 6 years old. So it was 1945 when he came on the SS Tiger. So, but Grandpa swam ashore. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. Descano's got to go. I don't know if anybody will even think about running against him. He runs in the off year, so that would be next year. Next year, he's up for re-election, right? Because he was 2023, so 27. This is going to make it hard for him, I think, to be re-elected, but you never know the way this country is going. All right, I will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Thank you all for your comments, your likes, your shares, and get out there and talk it up. Make sure that the woke liberals hear your voice. Bye-bye.